Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this Monday morning, starting another week of February, and we're going to be wrapping up the middle part. Today is actually the 8th, and by this time next week, we're halfway finished with February, so that's going to be good. We've got a good week planned, got some good shows coming up. Let's get started for this Monday morning. We're looking at a high of 67, low of 53, not a lot going on. Water temperature, that's a mystery. If you know the water temperature, call me, and I'll let y'all know about it. Our Monday moon phase, we're going to have our full moon. We're looking at Saturday the 27th, okay? So we got a new moon coming up. But Saturday, right at 2 weeks, right here in the middle, and it's going to be some dark nights right now and some long nights. The days are getting a little bit longer, though. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're in a week of good, strong tides. We got a low tide this morning at 4:43, and a high tide coming in at 6:26. So it's going to be coming. It's going to be blowing a little bit, some more east, southeast. Still in double figures. They call them about 10, but it'll be variable there, east, southeast. So we're going to be, it's going to be some good tides, though, if you want to get out fishing. But if you want to get out in the woods, it's going to be a little windy, but, you won't get downwind. And we're right in the middle of the rut. At some areas, the rut is sort of wrapped up and then sort of tail end of it. So we want to enjoy the hunt season. It'll be over shortly. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I want to talk about, first thing I want to talk about the dogs and all, and a lot of y'all, most of y'all have dogs, and we talk about some of the most fun times we've had in life. We're working with our animals and with dogs and everything, and I'll give you a little bit of background on my dogs. When I really become grown and kids and everything, and had time to sort of catch my breath and get a dog that I could spend some time with. Not that I wasn't working and coaching, 15 hours a day, but on Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, but I just want to tell you about my first dog, and then a couple after that. But my first dog was her name was Sally, a black lab, Sally. But she stood out because that was the first time I really took time to train a dog. And there wasn't that many labs here in the Panhandle, really, especially around Panama City. I was a young man, and I got Sally from a friend from mine up in Gaston County, a puppy. But my first training experience, I just wanted to train a dog because I've seen some well-trained dogs, and my experience with dogs were like deer dogs and rabbit dogs, boom, 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 boom. So anyway, with Sally, what I was able to do, I'll never forget it. First thing, of course, you sit and stay, and that's that basic training command. And a lot of people don't train dogs much anymore, but themselves, they can send them off getting trained. But I remember having her sit and stay, and I remember she'd stay, and she was young, and I'd walk back a little bit. And she wanted to get up. I said, stay. And so anyway, I got to the point where I was doing that in front yard. And when I did that in front yard, I would go further and further back each time, stay. And sometimes I worked up to 10 yards away from her. Football coach, 10 yards, and then 20, and then almost 15 to 20 yards. Then I never will forget that. It was like an afternoon after school I was working with her. And I was able to make her sit and stay. And I walked all the way around the house, back around, and she was still sitting there. It was just such a feeling of jubilation, and I was just so happy. I just hugged her and all, and that was a long time ago. And we went on, and then she had some puppies. I had a line of puppies coming along. Had some yellow labs, bred with a yellow dog, and had, that was Sally. Then she had two dogs, two of her puppies. One was Sister, and then one was called Splash. The yellow lab was Sister, and Splash was a black lab. They were brother and sisters. That was how they got named. And I ended up keeping both of them. I sold the rest of them. I had a nice litter of 7, I think, and sold 5. But Splash got the name because I lived on water, and she would just love to go jump in the water and splash all around. So I named her Splash, and the kids didn't understand that name. And then Sister was his sister. So anyway, Sister actually died giving birth to puppies and all. I lost her, and then Splash lived a good life and went on. Then I had some good mini dogs and everything, but the last one I had was Emmy Lou, and we were really, really close. and we just had a situation where we just couldn't. She just lived a long life, and but it still don't matter. You still, when you lose them, it still hurts. And I haven't gotten a dog since then, but I've had some wonderful experiences with dogs. I just wanted to share that with you. And speaking, and I did take them hunting some. I just had much fun just playing in the yard with them and them riding in the truck with me. So anyway, when showing dogs and all, that's my roots for dogs. And my dad and granddad had dogs. So and both my children have dogs and grandchildren have them. So anyway, I'll try to find some pictures of them last night. I'll find some pictures of me hugging on them. I'll show them to you. Okay, I did want to move on. Speaking of dogs and duck hunting and retrievers, I've had some good feedback. Some viewers actually sent me some emails and all. In fact, here's one right here. It said, Winston, this is on that Real Foot Lake, the murders up there with the duck hunters, and I was just, again, it's just an incredible situation. Okay, here's it. We have it all kind. Our system went out this morning, so anyway, we've had all kind of problems with our electronics. So let's okay. Anyway, the Real Foot Lake murders. I'm going to talk about that. Let's go and take a break and see if I can get all this stuff straightened out, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's give it another try. We got it all squared away. So we were talking about the Real Foot Lake, the murders up there at Real Foot Lake, and one of our viewers up there in Memphis, Tennessee, sent me this little note right here. It said, Winston, I thought you might be interested in this article if you haven't seen it. It was on Field and Stream, and this is Rob Keeler up there in Memphis. Thank you, Rob, for sending that to me. I'm glad you watched Panhandle Outdoors up in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm going to show you the article. Let me see. The article was right here, and it was about, it's a long article. I've read the whole thing, but basically what happened was that the hunters, I've told you the story, and I told you the story, they did find them. Michael Harris sent me a note. They did find the body of the perpetrator, but they're not quite sure what happened. They're still investigating. Obviously, they're so curious as to what happened because it's so unusual for that kind of stuff to happen. I'm going to show you Real Foot Lake right here. This is Tennessee right here, off to the right. See Nashville on the far right. So here's Nashville. Okay, now Real Foot Lake is right in here. It's actually made by an earthquake, and it was it's sort of north of Memphis. And let's see, right here in the middle, that's Dixon, Tennessee, and okay, y'all see Dixon, Tennessee, and then right to the right south of Nashville is Franklin. Just for your information, for some of y'all like to know, Wendy and her family live in Franklin, but she drives to Dixon, Tennessee every morning to teach school there. She has her teaching job in Dixon, and we get to talk to her every morning, usually every afternoon and all. She has about a 45-minute drive, but she just loves working with those kids. It's a small country school, and she has some good stories about those Tennessee country kids. There were some good kids up there, and I just some heartwarming stories. So anyway, I just want to talk about that. Let me mention, we talked about that Have a Heart trap last week to catch some raccoons and possums and everything. You can do that on your own, or you can hire somebody to do it. A lot of people hire. Bill Roxby over there in Santa Rosa Beach sent me a good long message talking about his son is in that business over there in South Walton, and you can get a hold of him. But Bill was talking to me, he brought up a good point. When you release whatever you capture, you got to release it in an area. You got to have permission. You don't want to go release it in a state park or something like that. I personally was able to release mine on my own property, but check with FWC some places you can release it because they don't want to get them transmitted and actually get them in different diseases and all that. And they have a good point, like the chronic wasting disease, which is not in raccoons but it's in deer, but they really have some situations there they don't want to occur. Okay, now let me see. I've got a good story if I can find it here. This is sent to me. This one's special. I'm gonna read it to you, but before I get into it, we'll talk about the stories around hunting experiences and fishing experiences, all the outdoor experiences. seem to always have some kind of story interwoven with the success or sometimes failure of that particular outdoor event. And I've always been intrigued with the stories in itself, like the duck hunting story. I just like to know the background of things, and I like to know how it happened. And so anyway, with this story here, this is one of my viewers. I'm going to read it to you. This is from Bo Drummond. Okay, I'm gonna say read it. This is good. This is a good story. It's called Dad's Buck. Okay, Coach, after years of not hunting because of a terrible hunting accident, he witnessed my dad starting hunting again when my kids, his grandkids, got old enough to start hunting. My dad, named Pat Drummond, harvested the biggest buck of his life Monday afternoon. So glad he started hunting again and is able to help teach my boys safe hunting practices. God bless Bo Drummond. So I'm going to show you this buck right here. Now you know, things happen in life and accidents happen, and we have different situations, but I'm so proud of Mr. Drummond coming back in there and get back in the woods and look at his reward. He's going to get to hunt with his grandkids. And that was a nice buck. And by the way, now, Bo sent me, this is a Washington County buck, up there in Washington County. So there's another picture here. That's a great story behind it because, let's see, one more. And okay, so we got him. And there's always a story behind them and everything. So anyway, I'm glad to have that. Now, thank you, Bo, for sharing that with us, and Pat, many more good hunting trips with you and your family. So now I want to go, speaking of things happening in different counties, up in Jackson County, I saw the news last week where some of y'all, well, Jackson County folks are getting your, not first, not second, but your third solar panel farm. And you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. I believe in solar energy. I always have. You know, I've always believed in solar energy. But with that being said, those solar panel farms are ugly. And what they're doing, they just sort of going out in the country, picking on country people and putting up these big old huge panels. I would not like it if I got up every morning, looked out my window, and just saw acres and acres of these solar panels. And you know, and I understand where they're coming from. I understand about the clean energy. Believe me, I know all of that. And I just wish there was a way they didn't have to put it in people's backyards. And I feel really sorry for you folks up there in Jackson County on your third solar energy panel farm. I was looking. One of the things. Another, how it affects outdoors. That's what made me think about it, because there's so many good farms up there in Jackson County, and those deer, how those deer go from one farm, then across the fields to other farms, and then across the creeks and all, and they have a great hunting up there in Jackson County. Now, those deer are not going to be able to weave in and out of those solar panels, so it's going to affect the wildlife up there. And it's going to be, you know, even on those wind turbines that, you know, they go around, they come up high, at least the deer can walk around them and under them and all. They can still transfer back and forth. But another thing, I looked them up last night. I was really serious about being displeased with them and feeling sorry for you folks up there in the country because they're picking on y'all. And what they're saying, you know, some places have these solar panels for a long time, and when they have a lifespan on them, but they're not allowed to take them to the dump or anything because of the chemicals and lead inside of them. So, you know, that's a big problem. In fact, California, all those wackos out there, they're having a problem now. They don't want them to go to the landfills yet. They don't know what to do with them. So that's something that, you know, people don't take into account. So, and, you know, I wrote down some notes and everything anyway, but another thing too, number one, they're ugly, and number two, your property value is going to go down. But it's interesting looking at the internet last night how you can tell where the energy companies have really tried. We look up information. They've tried to paint everything in a positive picture, because almost everything you saw was, oh, is it going to be great? And you know, property value is not going to be affected. Baloney. Who's going to buy a farm when you look out next door and got 7,495 panels out there? So that's just my feelings on that right there. So okay, let's take a final break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to Fishing Game Time today from Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at 8:14 to 10:14 this morning. That's looking good. And this evening from 8:43 to 10:43, and to finish up on this solar energy, I believe in it. I think the panels on top of the roof and all, I think those are cool. I mean, that's a personal decision to make, but it takes a while to pay for them. But I think, to me, that's a coming thing, not these big old monstrosities of a farm. And one more thing I looked up. I found this picture. Now, do we have hurricanes here in the Florida Panhandle? Yeah. Well, here's the last one that hit Puerto Rico. This is Puerto Rico when Maria hit. This is their solar panel farm. Now, they cannot repair those, and they don't have anywhere to take them, and it's got chemicals in them and all. So I just, that's just ugly. Okay, so anyway, let's move on to the more pleasant things. That's just the way I feel about it. Okay, now look, I got this this weekend. They already started announcing the big redfish tournament. We talk about it every year. The Star Tournament, where you win trucks and boats and all kind of stuff. 101 days. This is the CCA tournament. They didn't get a lot done last year because of the pandemic, but this year they're really, really excited about doing it. So look it up if you're interested in it. Over $1 million in prizes. So I think I'm gonna win me a truck this year. But okay, all right. So get registered for it. We'll certainly talk about that some more. And again, the picture of we talked about this the other day on the fishing report. There's the line right there. There's the Gulf County, Franklin County, right there. But it goes straight north and south. All right. Johnny Conrad Jr. sent about his dad. My dad, big buck down. Okay. My dad put a smack down on one this morning. One happy man. That's my good friend Johnny Conrad, and I text him. The old pro come through again. Johnny's been a good hunter for a long time. Loves to hunt. He and wife Rhonda got kids and grandkids up there in the Sand Hills, and just good folks there. Okay, this is on do-it-yourself deer blinds. Somebody got taking some already, getting them up there for next year. I like that board and batten. This guy made a comment, and I saw the same thing. A lot of these blinds on the bottom there. A lot of these blinds would have little or no overhang on the roofs, and I want to mention how important that is to have that overhang, because you know, a lot of people, you know, you got an overhang coming over here like this, and then hanging. Mike Edwards, your builder, you know what I'm talking about, just protecting and everything, never drain away from it, the wind won't blow the moisture, and it'll last several years longer just having a good overhang. Now let's move on to another special buck, well actually a special deer, because this is Miss Michael Coward's wife, Kaylin, okay, Kaylin Jacquez Coward. This is her first deer. Michael sent this to me first. We had a doe tag that needed to be filled, and perfect heart shot, she dropped it right there. Kaylin, then she posted this, doe down. This is my very first deer ever. Weighed 120 pounds. Then swap to see the videos. Thanks to my husband for making this happen. Next up, a big buck. So that's a nice shot, Kaylin. Pretty girl, and she and Michael are a great outdoor couple. I'm real proud of y'all. And let's see. And then Mark sent me this, Winston, another outdoor, because Kaylin was in my outdoor class, another outdoor ed success story, and I said, that's for sure. So that was a happy situation. Okay, coming up, we mentioned this now, this is right around the corner. This is the 6th annual Pre-Spring Rumble in the Swamp. This will be, and I'm planning on going there. That's on my calendar, Saturday, February the 20th. It's a small game hunt up there in Andalusia, Alabama. And we've been to it before. It's just a lot of fun, and good eating and good participation, good family fun up there. So don't forget that. They got Leslie Schaefer sent this to me. 3 martins in front of the house this morning, so I put up houses. So we have my name pickle jar. Last free snapper cost about $30. You know, extra fish and crab cakes anyway. Thanks, Leslie Schaefer. And I get tickled at that because people win something, a $20 gift certificate and then go down there and see a little bit of that, see a little bit. They want to get some extra stuff too, so it costs them extra. But talking about the martins, now this is right now is when they're coming in, and I've got a good group of viewers who are really on top of the martin situation. So now's the time to put them up, and Leslie's on top of it. Several other people have I've relayed the messages on. Now let's flash back to last Friday's show. I had Bill and Greg on, and one of the things, I wanted them to come on and talk about their outdoor trip to down around Steinhatchee, because that is such a good fishery, And of course, you heard what a good time they had having the fish they caught. And next, they're planning a trip out to Louisiana to go red fishing out there with Michael and Mark. And I got to thinking of how this affects us as our viewers and all. And I'm always encouraging you to take some outdoor adventures and make that part of your game plan for this year 2021. And there's so many things you can do. You can do it locally like they did. I say locally, that was like a 2.5-hour drive down there to Steinhatchee, but get hooked up with a guide. They'll call Bill or Greg and find out who they fish with. Obviously, he was a very good guide, and go down. That's a special fishery down there in that area. You can also out in Louisiana, you can do the same thing. And then you have friends. I know you have friends in Alabama, Georgia. They want to come down here and fish. Now, if you can't take them, you hook them up with a guide. We have some great inshore guides. We've got a list of great inshore guides here. They've had some tough times getting through this past year with the pandemic and people not traveling, but the fish are still out there, and they can put you on top of the fish. So make sure you you recommend them. If you want to call me, I'll give you a list of them. I know them personally. I know they work hard to put fish in the boat. So anyway, you got outdoor adventures. Remember a while back I went down, I would always want to go on a tarpon fishing trip. So I went down and had a great trip. Gail and I just had a wonderful time down there. And they're still having the tarpon trips, then the bonefish trips, and then of course the red snapper season we've already booked. I've already got 2 red snapper trips booked already. The first Saturday is going to be June, I think the 11th maybe. The first Saturday, already got the dates in there. And then we also have a trip coming up the 20-something, 22 red snapper trips booked. So make sure you do those kind of things. And let's see, I got several other things. But one of the things I want to talk about too before we leave, if you want to go on a hunting trip for next year, make sure you get your leases all squared away. I've got some people who want to get on leases if you have some room for some folks. So give me a call and I'll touch base and try to get y'all together on that. There's going to be some good times in hunting and fishing coming up in 2021. Thank you all so much for watching the show. We got a big one tomorrow. Do something good today for your fellow man. Have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.